Welcome back to the channel, guys. Drew here, and winter is also here, and along with winter comes some of the slowest part of the season. Toro rentals are down across the whole country. It's not just your city, okay? However, what's not down is used car values. Used car values are up 30 to 50% in some areas and some types of vehicles. And if you watch any automotive YouTube channels like I do, some of the biggest YouTubers on YouTube are cashing out, selling their fleets of vehicles. You got Tyler from Hoovie's Garage, 1.3 million subscribers, selling all 30 to 40 of his vehicles. Ed from VinWiki, one of my favorite channels, 1.5 million subscribers, selling his fleet. Tavares, a whopping 2 million subscribers, selling his cars. What do they know that we don't know? If you're in the Toro business and rentals are down, but used car values are the highest they've ever been, it begs the question, is this the time to get out? Is this the time to unload your cars, cash out while you're ahead? We're going to answer that question in detail. Stay tuned. All right, guys, you know my opinion on the market, pricing of cars and the shortage of cars, the chip shortage, the car, SUV, and truck shortage is not getting better. It's going to get worse before it gets better, which means prices in the short term are going to continue to go up a little bit. But I'm going to answer this question very simply and very easily. If you have good cars on the platform, you should keep them. So if you already have cars that are quality cars and they're sound, mechanically sound, and you already know that they rent well and they bring in money during the peak season, keep those cars, because you will not be able to replace those vehicles for the same price that you purchased them for if you bought it within the last 18 months. On the flip side, if you have vehicles that are not good vehicles, either mechanically they're just not, you're consistently having problems with them, or they just haven't rented the way you thought they were going to rent. They haven't brought in the money that you thought they were going to get. We've all had vehicles where we thought they'd be the perfect vehicles for Toro. You thought they were going to be cash cows, and they just aren't producing like you thought they were because of the area, because of the whatever different reasons. This is absolutely the time to sell those cars. The used car values are the highest they've been in history, and if you have a vehicle that is not performing during peak season like you thought it would, it's definitely not going to perform going into the slow season. So I would say absolutely unload that vehicle, cash out. This is the easiest time to sell used cars in history. It reminds me of 10, 15 years ago where when gold was at an all-time high, and literally every store that you looked had a sign of "We buy gold here," pawn shops and jewelry shops, and you couldn't go to the mall without seeing these signs. That's what the used car market is right now. So if you need to cash out cars, if there's certain vehicles you need to cash out, this is the time to do it. You got Carvana, you got Vroom, you got CarMax, Car Buyers USA, all will give you written appraisals online without even bringing the car to them. In addition to that, taking a car to that individual, if I got a Nissan, I'll take it to a Nissan dealership, and selling cars private party on the Facebook Marketplace. This is the easiest time ever to sell cars if you need to. So simply keep the good cars, sell the bad cars, cash out going into the slow season. And I will give you one very specific exception on the good cars, and that is if you own Teslas, okay? So the used car market is way up. Used Teslas are way up. And the pricing on used Teslas right now, what people are selling used Teslas right now it's unbelievable. Just to give you a quick a personal example, the car behind me, I'm selling tomorrow, and about over a year ago, I was in a minor accident. Somebody ran in the back of my car, and I had to get the car appraised to find out what the value would be, what the diminished value was, because it had an accident on the record. And they appraised the car. I had to appraise a couple different places. $30,000 to $32,000 was about the value of the vehicle. I've recently had it appraised, and it's up. This is a year and a half later, 20,000 miles more, and it appraised for almost $40,000. I had the car sold on the private market for substantially more than that, $45,000 to be exact. And used Teslas are going for ridiculous amounts of money. And if you have used Teslas, I'm not saying that you should sell them. If you have vehicles on the market that are bringing in good money and you've got a great, I'm not saying you should sell them unless you have two very specific models. Two very specific models I predict this is the perfect time to sell that. And one is something similar that I have behind me. This is a Tesla Model 3 long range, 2018 long range, and it has full self-driving. So the first specific type of Tesla that you should look at selling, if you have it, consider selling, is any Tesla with full self-driving. And I'm gonna, I could go in a deep dive on pricing on Teslas and history of Tesla and Elon and full self-driving and all that, but I'm gonna try to keep it very simple and very brief for you. Elon has been promising this self-driving. People have paid thousands and thousands of dollars. Full self-driving at one time, I believe, was around $5,000 or $6,000 as an upgrade. And people spent that money 3-4 years ago. And full self-driving is finally getting released. It's beta release. There's a small percentage of Tesla owners who have behaved properly. They have the safest Tesla scores, which is really annoying to me. I don't even try. But they have the safest Tesla algorithm scores on how they drive, and they've been released to use full self-driving. So the interest in full self-driving is at an all-time high. And if you're purchasing a brand new Tesla, if you're building out a Tesla and you want full self-driving, the upgrade cost is $10,000. So you could get appraisals from several different places, but don't be afraid to list that vehicle on the, in a face group, marketplace group, like a Tesla's for sale type of group. I had the car appraised, but I also listed on the group, and within a week, I've had multiple offers, cash offers on the vehicle, and was able to get almost my asking price on the vehicle within a very, very short period of time. So, and the reason being is, there's a lot that goes into this, but there's mainly three different reasons. The costs have gone up so much. The prices of used Teslas have gone so up. The first reason is Tesla has increased the new prices. So if we look at the pricing back in December of 2020, less than a year ago, the cheapest Tesla you could get would be a standard range Model 3. The price on that was $36,490, just a little bit higher than Elon's $35,000 promise. Since that time, the standard range plus Model 3 has gone up to $43,990, $2,000 within the last 3 to 4 weeks. In October, it was raised $2,000 more for a total of $7,500 more than it was less than a year ago. That's a 21% increase in the price of the cheapest Tesla. And this has been incremental throughout the last 10, 11 months. $1,000 here, $500 here, $2,000 last month. If we look at another example, the Model Y, going back to December 2020, the Model Y was $48,490, and that has been increased all the way to $56,990. Another, I believe, $2,000 within the last month. 17% more. Incrementally, 1,000 here, 1,000, 1,500 here, 2,000 here, and for a total increase of $8,500. And so as new Teslas have gone up in such a short period of time, the used pricing of the Teslas have increased the same amount, and very similar amount. And in addition to that, the second reason is you have a lot of people that have always been curious about owning a Tesla, or were interested in going electric, and Tesla was really at the forefront of that. But they never really wanted to spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a car. They're used to spending 20 or under, or 25 or 30,000. And as all the used car market has gone up, as all the new cars have gone up, a lot of these people for the first time are saying, look, if I'm going to spend $30,000, $40,000 on a car for the first time, I might as well buy a Tesla. And when you combine that with the third reason, the gas prices going up, a lot of people who've never owned an electric car, never owned a Tesla, at least before, are saying, well, look, maybe I'll spend a little more money on a car, but at least I'll save money on gasoline. And so you have literally thousands and thousands and thousands of brand new Tesla owners for the first time. And you know, they are pricing up the lower portion of Teslas. So now, what does that have to do with full self-driving? Full self-driving it's a very expensive option for the new one. So as they're pricing them out, they're seeing what a massive amount it is. And a lot of these people, they want the new tech. They want, if they're going to have a Tesla, they want that type of a feature. And so for the first time, really ever, you're able to get a lot of your money back from the self-driving, from full self-driving, FSD. So also you have a lot of the tools like NADA that are calculating you know, the value of full self-driving. For the first time, they're able to break that up. In the past, there was a lot of confusion on autopilot or EAP or full FSD, and the dealerships especially, and the algorithms didn't know how to calculate which was what and what's worth what and what does what. And there was just so much confusion if you weren't familiar with the Tesla ecosystem. Well, now there's enough vehicles out there, the tools are out there, where the book value on a car with FSD is actually about $6,000 more than without it, compared to standard autopilot that comes standard on every Tesla. And so for the first time, when you're getting appraisals done, you know, when you go back a year and a half ago when I had the car appraised, nobody really knew what FSD was and what it was worth. Well, now as you're able to get a book value on it, and more importantly, on the private market, you got people that are willing to pay extra money for full self-driving. Now look, if I'm buying a brand new Tesla, full self-driving is not worth $10,000 to me, and I don't think to most people. And especially when you realize that now, if you really want to have full self-driving, you can actually pay a monthly fee of, if you already have the halfway, like autopilot EAP, that it's $100 a month, and if you don't have anything, it's $200 a month. And you know, if you run the calculation on that, you're talking about 4.5 years of paying for full self-driving. So we talked about cars, not selling cars that you may have to replace, but there's an exception to this because you know, I predict next year if we look at the pricing of Tesla, Teslas, Tesla is not just increasing the pricing because their costs have gone up that much. They haven't, okay? Maybe a little bit. They're not only increasing the pricing because there's a huge demand for their cars, although there's a huge demand for their cars. And that may be part of it to slow the demand because they are backordered on the cars. It does take a long time to get the cars. But if you look at the pricing of the two examples that I gave you, and then you compare that to the bill that is in the Senate and the House to as far as an EV tax credit. So the pricing increase is almost exactly the same amount that the vehicle has gone up within the last year. So there's a very high chance, and I'll put a link in the below of a couple of videos that you can watch to see where things are at with an EV tax credit. But for the first time in years, brand new Tesla owners could next year within a couple of months get an EV tax credit of $7,500 to $8,000. And I believe that's the main reason that Tesla has been increasing the pricing, because when they wanted to slowly, gradually get the pricing in to where when those EV tax credits go in, it's very similar to what they had before. And it's the same thing that a lot of the manufacturers do. Any manufacturers that are releasing an EV car, that car is typically, the price of that car is about $7,500 more than the real value of the car is. And that's exactly what Tesla's doing. But if you have a Tesla with full self-driving and you can get top dollar for it now, there's a chance within the next 12 months you could replace that vehicle and get a $7,500 to $8,000 tax credit. And as I mentioned in my last video, even if that, for some reason, that the tax credit doesn't come into effect, I predict that especially on the Model Y, the pricing will come down on the Model Y when the new Gigafactory in Texas is up and running, and they'll be able to pump those things out faster. The second vehicle, Tesla vehicle, specific vehicle, any Tesla that has full self-driving, number one. Number two is any mid-range or standard range plus Model 3. This is the time to look to sell that vehicle. We talked about this in the last video about the Hertz deal. 100,000 standard range plus Model 3s are going to be on the market. There's a good chance other rental companies may want to jump in on that as well. And the market is going to be flooded with mid-range, standard range plus Model 3s. In addition to that, the money people are getting for standard range plus and mid-range Model 3s is extremely high. Many times more than they paid for a brand new on what I believe will be a few years from now will be the vehicle that a lot will be very depreciated. So people are getting great money for these cheap Teslas, and it's because a lot of the new people coming on into the Tesla marketplace, they don't have they don't have a real deep knowledge of the car. They just know it's a Tesla and it's the closest to their price range, and they don't know the value of a longer range Model 3 or a longer range Model Y. And so they're gravitating towards the cheaper, what they look at as, when you look at a long range, 40, 50 miles difference, they don't really see the value in the pricing on it. And because they've never had an electric car, they've never had a Tesla, they've never taken a mid-range and tried to take it for a longer trip. And so these vehicles are going for great money compared to what the real value is. So I believe the standard range plus and the mid-range plus right now, used vehicles are way overvalued. They're selling for way higher than they should, and probably the longer range Model 3s or Model Ys. So sometimes you can get a deal on them as far as finding one on the private market. But so quick review. Sell any problem cars. This is a great time to cash out. Keep any good cars that you have. Hold those. You'll never get those cars. You'll never be able to repurchase those cars for the same pricing. If you have a Tesla with full self-driving or a mid-range, standard range Model 3, I would strongly consider getting some offers done and consider cashing that vehicle out. And you may be able to purchase a similar type vehicle within the next 12 months at a heavy, deep discount. And until next time, I'm out. Thanks, guys.